Good afternoon. Welcome to the last and final session of the week. Um, it's good to be doing these live sessions. I was actually thinking about it. I've done like 42, and this is the 43rd live session that I'm doing with Sofo 25. You're joining in. Let me just send you a request.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, and yourself?
Good, good. Can you hear me?
Yes, all well. Can hear you well. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Super, super. How's things? How's life? How's the
Not bad.
weekend?
Not bad, not bad. Working from home at the moment.
Everyone is,
Yeah.
right? Everyone
Yep.
is. Um, so I know you are Sofo25.
Yeah.
What's your real name?
It's Sophocles.
Sophocles.
Yes.
And it comes from Cyprus or Greece?
Greek Cypriot, but it's an
Greek
ancient
Cypriot.
ancient Greek name. He's a philosopher. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Good you didn't mention emperor.
yeah. A lot easier to say Sophos, so you know. Make
So, I'll just keep it short as Sofo. Um, So, so far we are here today to talk about. I've seen your profile. You mentioned that you are a serial entrepreneur.
good.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. I would say
business
so.
is business is what inspires you um, to be that entrepreneur that you want to be. So, before we start, if I can just have a few words about who you are and what you do, and so that we can get the introduction out of the way and start carrying on with the conversation that we're going
Yeah.
to have.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So I'm basically I run a design and build construction company based in London.
Okay,
I've been doing it for a very long time. I entered the industry at a very young age,
okay,
and basically we're just doing lots of construction work in London, lots of design work. So that's pretty much it, and a bit of a property as well. So we know quite a bit of property as well.
property development, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Good
yeah,
stuff. So for you mentioned that you got into this design build at a very young age. I mean, was it the fact that you know, just to take you back a few years
mm,
into childhood, when you were at school or college or university or something like that, did you always think that building or construction or property is what I want to get into, or was it like your family business that sort of drove you into that? I mean, if you can just speak about
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I was born into construction. My dad came here from Cyprus in the 80s.
Okay,
And he actually started off with like property, and he
okay,
bought a couple of petrol stations,
okay,
and that was his sort of he was like an entrepreneur kind of thing,
okay.
and then he got into construction purely because my family in Cyprus, they're all developers, architects. We come from a long line of like
And
engineers.
Greece and
Yeah,
Cyprus are like hubs of engineering, right?
I
So.
think so. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of talented people out there, so
Absolutely. I mean,
it's
mainly the ship engineering and the sea sort of
yeah,
engineering that
yeah,
you guys do. I mean,
yeah.
Greece is known for all of that stuff.
It is a hub in
So
Asia and Europe, so it's very busy. So
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Um, so your father, when he came here and
Mm.
he bought himself petrol stations, were they like franchises or no? Just
I don't know the full story. All I have is a couple of photos that I've been sitting in the office eating crisps and drinks, and the stories that he's told me about it. And I think he said it was the early 90s. There was a bit of a recession, I think.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I don't know the full story, but I think after that he sort of lost a lot of property and petrol
Okay,
stations, and that's when he decided to go into full-time construction.
okay.
So I was sort of born into it. My first memory on a construction site, 7 years old.
Wow.
Picking up a hammer and trying to do what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
So since then, I've done engineering at uni. Studied engineering and construction
Civil,
management.
civil, civil engineering.
Yeah, yeah, I did civil. I started off with mechanical actually, but I found it very boring.
I had a
So
lot of friends. I mean, I come from Pakistan myself, but
yeah.
when I came to university over here, I was at the University of East London.
Oh, I went there as well.
And did you?
Yeah,
Oh, well,
Docklands.
small world then.
Did you go
Small world.
Docklands?
Barking first and then Docklands.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah, I was in
Yeah.
Docklands. Yeah.
So when I was at Barking, I mean, the group that because some of my good friends who are from Pakistani origin, they were studying engineering over there.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of friends from Greece and Cyprus and everything. So yeah, it was like a community that we had, at the university.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe you might know a couple of names if I name them.
Possibly. How old are you, by the way?
35.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's possible.
So Sattar Mufti, do you remember?
No. No, I don't remember. No. No.
Wokus Khan,
Khan sounds familiar. Sounds familiar.
Wokus, maybe I don't know.
Sounds
So
familiar.
they were all with me, but they were all doing, and I was the only one in my group that was doing business, and the rest
Okay.
were all engineers, architects, and Docklands was pretty much the art and
Yeah.
the cultural kind of
Hmm.
campus once Barking was over, and the only thing that was there from Barking was business studies. The rest was all like, yeah, and they moved law to Stratford and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So coming
remember.
back to you, in terms of construction and everything,
Yeah.
how was it then, and how is it? What's different now? I mean, when you were growing up and everything,
Ah.
and before you did your university, working with your father, how was it? Firstly, working with him.
Definitely less competition in the past, I think. There were a bit higher standards, I would say, in
Okay.
construction in the
Okay.
past. I think as the market's become more crowded, the quality's sort of gone lower. People are undercutting in terms of pricing.
Absolutely.
So it has changed to an extent.
Undercutting jobs as well. You guess, I
Yes,
guess.
yes, yes.
Sorry,
That's
I've got
quite a
my
big
baby
issue.
at the back, but
No,
yeah.
sorry, I've got one as well in the other room, so I get it. No worries.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think undercutting is a very big issue in the industry,
But
because
it's not just with construction, right? It's with everything, I guess.
yeah,
It's all
yeah,
over the place. It's
yeah,
you see property. I mean, I'm a property broker myself, so
yeah,
I see that all the time. There are
mm,
people who are. I will go in with like 5% or 6% commissions, and
hmm
all of a sudden there'll be someone like at 4%. I'm like, oh man,
yeah,
how is he paying
undercutting.
his bills, man? How is he doing stuff? But then
Yeah,
again, you pay for quality, right? You don't pay for
yes,
quantity. So
yes,
it's one of
exactly.
those things.
Yeah.
Um, so on a whole, I mean, how is the construction industry right now? I mean, I know that we're back at work and stuff, but
Mm. It's
how
good.
how has it been?
It's good. I mean, we pick and choose now our projects and who we work with. So we do a lot of work with private homeowners at the moment,
Okay,
where in the past we did work with a lot of developers.
okay.
So now it's busy. A lot of people are actually
Do you
putting
see
a
a
lot
major
of.
difference in working with mainstream developers
Mhm.
and, you know, sort of
Yeah,
homeowners, private homeowners who are
yeah.
looking to get their house done? Do you see a major difference in mentality and all that kind of stuff?
For me, there's a major difference. Yeah, definitely. I think developers are all about speed and
Okay.
more like a general construction finish. They just want to
But wouldn't that
rush
be
it.
the same case with the private owner? I mean, get
Private
my house
owner,
ready. I need to leave. I need to live in there.
a lot of the time that happens as well, but like they think of it more emotionally, like
Okay.
their house is somewhere they're going to live for the rest of their life, they believe.
Life, yeah.
I was with a client yesterday. He said this is going to be my home for the next 20 years.
Wow.
So he didn't want to rush anything because he doesn't want to make a mistake, because he's got 20 years to enjoy it, if in his sort of opinion. So with developers, they want to rush it to market because every single day is interest for them.
Cost. Yeah.
It's a massive cost, which is a cost for us as well. So, in terms of quality, it's still good, but it's hard to get the right finish when you're under the time pressure as well. So it's a bit more, I'd say a bit more difficult to work
And
alongside
and and
developers.
and developers. I'm gonna ask you this question. I mean,
Hmm.
if you can take me through a good project of yours where the design was good, the client was good, and you had a good time doing the project.
Hard, it's a hard one. Hard
Is
to
it?
find, to be honest. I mean, it's like those
So
three
they
things.
so they're all giving you a
There's
tough time then.
there's always something, like there's always one thing that is, you can't complete the whole triangle. It's
Yeah,
always
yeah,
something missing in it.
yeah.
But all have gone well. Some have gone badly, of course, like it happens in construction. Everybody has their part, everybody has their play. So I made a lot of mistakes as well. you know,
Of
and that's
course,
part of,
you don't learn if you don't make mistakes, right?
no,
I mean, I remember when I went for my I think 20th or 21st interview
yeah,
when I wanted to become a property agent, and the guy was taking my interview, and he said that Murtaza, we're looking for someone who's more experienced,
yeah,
and
we get that.
I had given 20 odd interviews by then. This was like,
Mm,
and before then he'd taken a phone interview and he said, I like your energy and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And then I just got wound up and I told him, like, Mr. So and so, you didn't come out of your mother's womb walking.
no, I don't think so. No, you have to
You
learn.
made mistakes in
Yeah,
life
yeah,
to get where you are today, running a successful business, a
yeah,
successful property agency. All I'm asking for is experience. I'm
yeah,
going to make mistakes. I'm not saying I'm Mr. Perfect,
yeah.
but you learn from mistakes. But if you don't learn from mistakes and you carry on doing them,
Mm.
then
It's a bad recipe, that one. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
you
You've
gotta,
got
you
to,
gotta, you gotta keep learning. Yes, you fall, you get
yeah,
up, you make sure that you don't do that mistake again, and carry on, and don't carry that on into the next project. Um,
exactly,
so I know
exactly.
you don't have a smooth running construction site.
No,
What's
no.
the worst running construction site that you had?
Oh, the worst. Oh gosh, I think the worst one was probably last year. I would say, in all
Okay.
honesty, everything went wrong from the beginning. The design was wrong. The professional team was not really focused. We were
Professional
really
team, you
busy.
mean the architects and the engineers, or?
Yeah, architects, surveyors, engineers, everybody was
Okay.
quite busy. This was more like a side project for everybody. I have to be honest, we were really busy as well. We're running like 7 or 8 projects, quite large projects between, sort of 300 to £1 million. So
Okay.
it was very difficult to, I think we flew too close to the sun
Okay.
on this particular project. We took it on even though maybe we shouldn't have taken it on
Okay.
because purely manpower, management, and it sort of just started crumbling apart. Things, we had to tear things down and do it again because one of the things, we don't cut corners. So if something's done wrong, we tear it down. Not from the request of an engineer or client, but from me personally. When I visit a site, if it's not right, we tear it down because I know that it
Must have
might
been
be,
tough
yeah.
visiting 7, 8 sites every single day.
Yeah, it wasn't every day because what we've done is I sort of invested a lot of time and research on systems.
Okay.
So we've got really good systems in place for our subcontractors. Like they give us daily reports with photos.
Okay.
I can see what every site is doing from my mobile.
Okay.
So every day they file a report with photos and I see what they've done. So I
So
think maybe
something like Slack and Microsoft Teams and all that kind of stuff that
yeah.
people
We
use.
use like Podio. It's like
Okay.
you build the app yourself basically.
Okay. Okay.
So it's much easier. Oh, sorry, it's gone.
It's all right. Yeah, yeah.
Am I
All
on?
well.
Ah.
Yep,
So it's
yep, you're
much
live.
easier. Is my light
Yep.
on?
No, no, you're perfect.
All right. So it's much easier like that because it's quite hard to visit 7 or 8 projects every day. So
Yeah.
it's more like 7 or 8 every week. So
Okay.
plus the
Fine.
client meetings
So
and
one site a day kind of thing, you're going and seeing it and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, to spend quality time with the site and people on site as well, and not to rush it. In between, you've got to meet clients, you've got to meet potential clients. You've got to run the accounting, you've got to have your team meetings with everybody else involved in the business. It's not just the contractors. You've got bookkeepers, you've got everything else to meet with every day. So
It's not,
yeah,
from what you're saying, it's not easy being a contractor.
it's not easy. It's not easy doing anything, really, is it? At the end of the day.
So yeah, you were talking about your toughest or worst projects. So I mean, worst
Yeah.
in the case where it all got a bit too much. So
It got too much. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that project actually it didn't finish, didn't complete.
till today, it's not completed, or
I think it
you
could
just
be
didn't
completed
complete it
now.
and you walked out, kind of thing.
I think it is completed now. We did have to leave that project, but I think there is a brand new team on it, brand new professional team, and probably a brand new contractor. I think it's nearly finished. But yeah, it was just terrible. It was just purely wrong timing.
And was it your decision to just walk out of there?
It was our decision at the end of the day because we were actually burning a lot of cash.
Okay.
A lot of
And you
money.
were not, and you believe you're not getting paid that much.
Well, not correctly. I would say not correctly.
Okay.
I would say some the funds weren't actually available. We were waiting
Okay.
sometimes 40 to 60 days to get paid, which in construction, when you've got cash flow, it's a
And
very
construction is an everyday kind of cash flow, right?
everyday.
Materials,
Yep.
labor, materials, labor,
Yep. Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
it's
we were
one of those
blowing
things.
about maybe, I would say, maybe 100 grand a month. We were blowing maybe more. You know,
Wow.
just on, you know,
Just on that site.
yeah.
But did you get paid in the end for all the work that you've done so far?
There was a hole. We just cut a loss and moved on. Basically, there was a hole. We didn't get paid in full, but we had to just move on. It's actually
You
worse to stay.
didn't take them to court or something?
No. It was just really messy. It was really messy. One or two went to court last year,
Okay.
but it didn't go anywhere. They were
As
resolved.
in, as
They were
in,
resolved. Yeah,
they were
they were
resolved outside
resolved
of court. Okay, that's
outside of
great.
court.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
That people sort of, you know, it's like it's always the case, right? You keep chasing, you keep chasing, you keep chasing,
yeah,
and then when you send the court letter, they're like, "Oh shit."
yeah. People start talking. Yeah, no, I know. That's how it is, man. That's how it is.
So we've spoken about your best and worst. So what's been the smallest project you've done that
Uh,
completed in less amount of time and was the absolute smallest that you've done so far?
I think small refurbs, like flat refurbs, I would say.
Okay.
Smallest done last year. We done a small flat refurb in Putney Bridge.
Okay. Okay.
That went relatively quickly.
What,
4 month
3 months,
project,
6? Okay.
about 4 months. Yeah,
Okay.
complete refit. Everything was stripped back to brick, repainted, everything else. So
Okay.
that was a fairly large house. I think 150 square meters
Wow.
of flat. of a
That's
flat.
not bad. That's a
Yeah,
good one. Oh, three
yeah.
bedroom?
It was a 3 bedroom. Yeah, three large
3 bedroom.
bedrooms.
That's not
12
bad.
units.
Turning it around in 4 months.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was. We were aiming for 3.5, but we
Sometimes
hit 4.
studios take like 6 months.
I know. There's a lot of work involved and a lot of people to speak to. So, yeah, it's not easy.
Absolutely. And what's your longest project that you've done? That you were like, I
Uh,
need to get out of this one soon.
yeah, no problem. Longest project. I don't know. I think maybe about 8 months. I would say, and that was a flat conversion
Okay.
in Fulham.
Like a house to flat
Correct.
conversion.
Yeah,
Okay.
like a townhouse, and it
Yeah.
was converted to 3 flats with a basement.
Okay.
So that took about 8 months. I would say roughly.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that's the max.
So obviously we're going through a time right now, and I'm sure you must have seen 2008, or your father must have seen 2008, the crash and everything that happened. Obviously, we were there, but were you in the professional game then, or were you still at university?
I was in and out. So I started
Okay.
in the game at around 17 years old.
Okay.
If you look on Companies House, there's so many companies I've had to open and close down between then and now, purely because I've been learning as I'm going along.
Yeah.
And I would say, in 2008, I was in uni and also in business as well.
Okay.
I don't remember it affecting me massively because I wasn't in the risky part of the game. So I didn't have any
Okay.
large sites. It was probably a turnover of about 100 grand a year,
Okay.
which is completely different to, what
To
we're
what
doing
you're
now.
at today.
Yeah.
So did you see like a massive difference in how the market was then to how the market is today?
Things are the same, kind of, but the only things that have changed, like I say, it's like quality, competition. It's a crowded market. It's really crowded at the bottom, entry level as well. Like the small extensions, loft conversions. Like I think there's a lot of contractors, doing that part of the market. On the higher end, the big companies, I don't think it's that crowded. But I think between then and now, there's been a lot of changes in terms of what people want as well. Designs are changing. People are looking for more like value now.
Luxury,
Yeah,
contemporary, modern, all
yeah.
that kind
There's
of
so many
stuff.
different designs that
And
people want.
how do the government policies like affect you when it comes to construction?
Not much. I mean, once planning's out of the way, that's already done, which we do design and planning and stuff
You
anyway.
do the
But
planning as well.
yeah, we do that. But once it's out of the way, you've done your building regulations. You've got everything you need on paper. Everything's secure, and you can just build. There's never been an issue other than neighbors.
Okay.
Our biggest issue has always been the neighbors. The
Yep.
noise. They
Yep.
get frustrated, and it's been quite difficult to manage their expectations. So
I remember when I was doing the loft extension and the side extension, the back extension in my house previously. And yeah, we had some, I mean, neighbors that we had happy and we were talking, before
yeah,
the construction, everything was fine. As soon as the construction happened, like, wow, 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 wow. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, I was like, what? Like
Happens.
yesterday, you were Mr.
Best friends.
Perfect, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
today, just
yeah.
because of one drill noise, you're like going all over the place. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yep.
And obviously, in the planning report, it's always written that it's
Mm.
going to be from a certain time to a certain time,
Yep.
and they give you the planning after they've spoken to the neighbors and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And back in the days, it wasn't just a consent.
Yep.
You had to get the planning to get the loft done or get the back extension done. But then
Yeah.
obviously they changed those rules and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that must have been pretty easy, right? Going from planning for loft and back extensions to just consent.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty straightforward if you do things correctly, and again, like if you manage neighbors. Like last
Yeah,
week, we also do maintenance, so we've got a little small maintenance team
like a
that does
management
like,
team.
yeah, like they do changing locks and things like
Okay.
that. And we were
Okay.
in, our guys were there last week. They just changed the lock, barely made any noise, and they call the estate management company and they complain, that we're making noise. So it's always an issue. Basically, that's the only problem I think
Neighbors are
there is.
always a killer.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so you mentioned that it's really tough in the um, the lower end of the market also. Like let's say today I'm a property agent, but let's say tomorrow I want to get into construction and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
How can someone like me or a newbie
Mm.
get into construction?
Yeah,
I
really
mean,
easy.
how is that possible?
It's very easy as long as you've got the right team. That's it. I mean, you need the right people around you. You need to have a good operations. You need to have good marketing. You need to have a good building team, which is, I think, the most important thing in construction. Like
Yep,
you can take on a big project, but if you don't have the manpower to deliver, it's just not going to work. But I think it's a good industry to be in.
yep,
If you get it right, it can be lucrative. The margins are good. They
yep,
can be good. It's
yep.
a lot better at the lower end because you've got a quicker turnaround. But the bigger the value, the smaller the profit. But technically, your percentage is smaller. But
The
if
money
it's a
value is
million,
bigger.
yeah. If you're working on 10% at a million, in a 6-month project, it's still not bad.
But
But
you
as
mentioned that it's you have to have the right team.
that's it. Yeah.
But as a startup,
Mm.
I'm sure the costs are humongous
Yeah.
when it comes to construction because obviously you are not getting paid by the client on a weekly basis or something like that. Yet you have to fork out the payment for the material, the payment for your laborers,
Yeah.
then it comes to your marketing, all that kind of stuff.
It's huge. It's
How
huge.
can one manage those costs and not
This
sort
was
of go down kind of thing?
this was what my downfall was last year with my previous company. Actually, we were forking out so many hundreds of thousands of pounds, and we had maybe 2 or 3 contracts that weren't paid in full,
Okay.
and then you've got a massive hole that you have to fill, and it will never fill. It's like a black hole. It'll keep taking. You can take out loans and business loans to try and cover it, but it'll never go away. Because you've
So
always
how would you do it different then? Would you
um,
charge in advance the
some
client?
people charge in advance, but the problem with that is you need to be trusted. If someone doesn't know you, they might not give you an advance payment. But I think it does need to be a bit more fair for the contractor. I think the contractor takes on the biggest risk in the entire build project. I know it's the biggest part of the project, but they take on the risk,
It
like
is the main
financially.
part of the project. If you don't have a contractor, you can't build.
No, you can't build. No, and they take on a big risk. I know a lot of contractors have gone under this year as well, purely because of the risk. And I don't think the reward is as big as it should be for the risk. Like if you look at a bank or even in real estate, they could lend 50, 100 grand, but they're charging a huge interest. Their risk is worth the the reward.
Of
But
course.
in construction, I think it needs to be a bit more fair between both sides. I think there needs to be a better way of communication, I would say.
And has the government sort of introduced any policies to cover contractors in such a way?
No, it's a very grey area. Unfortunately, there's no, like if you're in America, you have to be licensed to be a contractor.
Of course.
You've got to do the years of testing, and then you get your license. But in the UK, it's quite
So,
easy.
solo.
It's
I, mean,
pretty easy.
I was talking to real estate agents also up in America and all those cities and states, they have to get a license. They can't practice without a license.
I prefer that.
And
prefer that.
and over there, every agent represents a client. So if I have a buyer, I represent my buyer only. If you have a vendor, you represent the vendor only. And like how lawyers talk over here for the vendor and the buyer, it's exactly how the agents talk over there.
Yeah.
But it's
you prefer it, right? I mean, it's good to have some sort of rules in place, and
of course. But I mean, I'm sure if those rules were brought on, people would be like, "Whoa."
Yeah, it won't work.
There's so many rules coming up. It's like, if you put this into context, like, you know, I understand that people should have their backs covered. Yeah. In business, in jobs, service industry, whatever, you know, you have your backs covered so you can, like you mentioned, you can go out and do what you want. Yes. But because your backs are not covered, our backs are not covered, we think that there's a massive risk. Yeah. If I go ahead with this, you know, so all of that sort of plays. A few final questions to you.
Yeah, sure.
Is, how are you adopting yourself in today's day and age where a construction site is one of the most sort of packed and interacted sites between laborers and all that? How are you working to protect your company, your team, your organization?
Sure. I'm a massive believer in technology. So we're trying to use technology, which doesn't really exist much in the construction industry, to try and make things safe, to try and make it, you know, as you say, like more communication between everybody on site. So we're working on a few things. We've already done quite a bit ourselves.
Okay.
And we're trying to push more research, that we're trying to figure out how to make things run a bit more smoothly, because we're in the most, you know, dangerous industry in the world. You know,
absolutely. And construction every day, right? It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. From things to rare extent. It's one of those
very dangerous. It's very dangerous. I mean, when I was a child, I saw somebody fall from a scaffold and land on their back. I don't know, probably about 5 or 6 stories. And that was one of the worst things I've ever seen. You know, the guy couldn't move.
One of your sites?
No, it was a site opposite. It was a church opposite.
Wow.
They were going up. They were doing like the tower. They were putting the scaffold on the tower, and then the guy just fell. And that was something I still remember. You know,
one thing that scares me is, you know, these new developments that are going up, and then I have to do site viewings with clients and take the workman's lift and go up. You know,
scary,
the reason I have this phobia is because I used to when I was young, I was watching a Bollywood film, and in that film, the construction worker, he falls from that lift down. You know, that's like, so every time I have that thought, oh my God, you know, oh shit. Yeah. So I just keep myself, stop talking to anyone, and just
focus. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So that was good to know of how you're. I mean, any word on the technology that you're using? I mean,
well, a lot of it. The only thing we're trying to improve on now is attendance and who's actually physically on site. Because when we've got a big site, it's actually quite difficult to know where everybody is.
Yeah.
We were doing some basements last year. There was quite a lot of people on site. Lots of things. Lots of dangers. You know, lots of dangers in place because you're dealing with steel, cranes, concrete, which is very dangerous as well. And we're just trying to find out where everybody is. So we're trying to work on a system that actually sort of GPS locates everybody on a site.
They went tracker or something like that. So
once they're on site, so they can just sort of figure out where they are, what they're doing, because it's good for efficiency as well. You know, to see what most time is being wasted on.
Absolutely.
And how it can be improved. So we're working on that at the moment, which is quite difficult, but we're getting there.
But it's going to pay off, right? I mean, once you figure out, and especially if you can be the introducer of such a technology within the construction industry, I'm sure it's going to help a lot of other people.
Yep, we'll dish it out to everybody.
Absolutely. Before you go, one final piece of advice to the young generation. I know we are young as well. We are no one to give advice, but it's good to give that positivity, that inspiration, or just a few words to, to take people out of that negativity that we are all in right now. Jobless people, redundant people, furloughed people, or people just being negative and fear, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Just a few words.
My favorite saying is that when it's all said and done and you're on your deathbed, you don't look back and, you don't regret the things you did, you regret the things you didn't do. So if you've got that fear in your mind that, if you do it, it might go wrong.
Yeah.
I've done it personally. I can guarantee that if you do it, you won't regret it. For better or worse, you're either going to win or you're going to learn. There's no real other option. And if you remove that fear, you can do anything, absolutely anything. So just, bear that in mind. At the end, once the time's run out, you're going to look back and you're just going to, be happy with
Absolutely.
that.
I mean, this is what I say to quite a few people that have that in that mind. I'm like, look, right now you're in this space or this time. Watch yourself. In a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you'll be telling your kids, and you'll be laughing about it. Like took out a time where we were stuck at home. All that stuff. So like right now,
just embrace it. I've been with my family for the last 2 months and I've loved it. A few months ago I was in the office every day.
First person.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, before I didn't see him much. I was like in the office all the time. And from Monday I'm back in the office, but I've enjoyed spending time with him. I think that's.
I'm taking the next week off because Ramadan is finished.
Okay.
So I thought that let's just take out Ramadan at home this year, totally finish it, and then 25th of May I'll be back up and running. So I'm letting the agents who are working right now, let them take the pie, and then I'll be there to join the party.
Good.
So much for joining me today. It's been
no worries.
Discussing what you do, how you do it in the construction industry, and I wish you all the best to do more and more construction sites. And one more thing, if I'm going to pitch a bit of business to you, if these guys are interested in selling, buying, get in touch.
Okay, I think we might be in touch anyway because we're looking for some opportunities as well.
Super.
If you've got anything sort of ran down, something contractor friendly,
okay,
let me know as well. Yeah, and there's actually another thing. A lot of people have actually commented saying that we look alike. We look like cousins. So maybe we're cousins. I don't know.
Maybe.
I had a few messages. Yeah, a few messages before.
Weird, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Anyways, nice talking to you.
Once this is all over, I mean, I'm back in the office 25th of May. I'll shout you out. We should hook up and
definitely
just business.
I'm based in Liverpool Street. Yourself?
Holland Park.
Holland Park. Okay, cool. Not too far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Super.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So that was So425, who runs a construction company in London doing various construction jobs all around London. Get in touch with him if you're looking to do any sort of construction work, small or big, they don't mind. And like I mentioned, if you're looking to sell, buy, or rent a property, get in touch with BTH Properties. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to everyone that tuned in during the week through all my live sessions. It's been absolutely amazing. Like I said, this was my 43rd live session so far. And hopefully next week, I will be hitting the 50. So it'd be good. Thank you so much. Take care. See you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.